what you might start to do is be sure you have launched a SQL Server. And what you might do is copy your AP and copy your company database script to the C drive. And I'm going to walk through that for you because we're going to use that. Did you log on to the network? Tell you what, we'll do this. Close it all down.
Yeah, that's what he said. I don't know what he's talking about though. Maybe create company database. I don't know. Company scripts. I don't know. Maybe I'll just copy everything. Then it's all there.
Fill that out.
Okay.
And then take it back to first and put it right around the corner there. Okay. Before I start on the what I like to try to do as I go through the lecture, some of these I have some simple queries, and I'll do some talking, and I'll give you a chance to type it in and see how it works. Okay. And I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Those of you that are more proficient than the ones that are not, help them out a little bit if you're sitting next to them. You know, I'll give you some time. Some of you won't complete it. You know, don't get all flustered. I got to move on. So you just, you know, forget it and, you know, have a try on the next one. And then I'll have the scripts out there for you so you can go back. But, you know, I can't come and solve your problems during the lecture. So just keeping that in mind. There's probably a pretty good spread of a skill level in here. And so those of you that are really beginners and very slow, you're probably not going to finish these little queries as we go along. But I find it's helpful to do that during the lecture. Plus, you know, you'll start messing off and surfing the web before we go. All right, so I've got right here. So here I am. I've got something there, but that got no databases. So the first thing I want to do, we're going to attach the AP, just for those of you, and for those of you that want to follow along. Some of you may already have that done. You right click, and this is an attach. Okay. Okay. Oh. And then you say add. Okay. And usually it'll take you to the Microsoft spot. I go right up to the C drive, and I come down to the bottom here, and I got an APM MDF. There is a log file in there, you just don't see it. You should have copied both of them. You highlight it, and you say OK, and here it does. It shows up in here. Okay, you leave it alone, take all the defaults, that's more than adequate, and you say OK. And it just asks me, do you want to do some more? No, I don't want to do any more. I'm good. And there I am. And if I drop it down, I got the table. Okay. So that's what we do when we attach an existing database. Questions on it? Okay. You probably just need to follow along because you missed a little bit last week. We'll have to do a little catch up here. Yes, sir.
My file disappeared too. So I went through everything.
The file should be out there on the iDrive. It's there.
Okay. So it wouldn't be in the server?
No. You just launched the server.
Okay. So we didn't save it last week?
No, you don't save anything. This is a virtual environment. Yeah, you start cleaning all over again. It's like a lot. Okay.
Should we have something on the screen?
No. That's the script. No, you won't have anything like that. I'll get that out of your way there so you don't get confused. New query. All right. Should be blank. All right. Okay. This is what we did last week.
Mass chaos ensues. Just out of curiosity while I'm waiting, I wonder if I can pull it up on here. This little thing has a little atom processor. You ever hear of an atom processor? It's very small. You know about different processors, right? Some are small, some are big, some are real slow, some are very strong. It's a very small, lightweight
Okay.
processor. And the fact that it's running a server is pretty impressive to me.
Let's create a new database and run a script. This is the other option. Okay, when we don't have a database already made up for us. So, and to do that, I've copied my particular version copy of the script to the desktop. That's convenient. So I'm going to open up a file, and I'm going to go out to the desktop, and my create company database SQL script. And I'm going to say open. And here it is. Okay, now, what I have to do, I have to create the database before I run this script. So I'm going to come out here to databases, new database, and I'm going to call it company.
Can you go back to where you did the slow thing? A little bit slower. You went at the desktop first?
Where did you copy your script? I asked you.
I'm not finding the script.
What's that? It's on the iDrive. typically use that one, we'll use the AP, but it's just so you get in the habit of you know, being able to create these. Okay. All right, and I'll say okay. Okay, so I got a company database out there. I've got a database, but it's got no tables in it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute this script. Okay. And then it's going to create the tables, and then it's going to insert the records. Okay. And then, all right, now what we have to do is we got to make sure that we got company here, but I've got something else that covers me. It's probably always wise to have this use command, and then it is, what it does is it sets it up such that you'll be in the right database, because that little drop-down box area over there has a tendency to go back to master anytime you make some kind of a switch. Okay? I'm sorry?
For getting the company database.
Yes.
How was it we did that?
I guess I'm not sure I asked.
Yeah, I got the spreadsheet.
What's that?
Then we go get the
The red
company database.
video.
Oh, usually that means misspelled,
Or
or
could not
You got the script in here?
entry to
Here.
this database. We're going. Oh, I'm not going to worry about it.
You right
Not
click,
yet, anyway.
new database. And then you do that, and then fill in the name right here, company. And then you say okay. Because I'm not going to do that now because I already got one here. And then I'll execute this. And we're in company, so we'll execute it. And that looks pretty promising. And way to look, if you look down here, look at my tables, and there's all my tables. So when you see that, you know that you have a pretty good chance then of being successful.
Oops. What did you do with this?
no, we can't execute it.
Oh, that's grayed out. Execute is grayed out on my screen.
Well, what you have to do is make sure you're in the, your cursor is in the query area.
There we go.
Then it shows up.
There we go. Thank you. Aha. All right.
And we'll close that.
Just click on it somewhere. It doesn't matter where.
All right. We'll come back to that one. We'll use the AP during our lecture.
Okay, already there.
All right, we're going to do a little talking about queries, and then you'll have another shot at, putting some of these things in and catching up a little. You missed out on a little bit of that. I want to try to keep it moving along if we can. Okay, single table queries. This is when we're going to be using a single table to execute a query. And we're going to basically find information in there. And we have a basic, referred to as the basic select command. This is the bulk of the query right here. This is the pattern, or the pattern, I might call it that. The first clause is referred to as the select list. Okay, and it's really going to be what what it is, what do I want from that table. And of course, it's going to be something regarding the columns in that table. Which columns do I want? And I'll have a comma separated list of columns. And then I've got to say, which table did I get that from? Okay. That first two of those are required. We're going to come back to these. Notice I got the little brackets around these. That means they're optional. Okay, this is going to be something where we filter, and this is going to be order by is where we're going to sort. We're going to do lots of sorting. And we'll come back to sorting pretty quickly. And in about the middle of the evening, we'll get to the filtering, where clause. Okay, an example. This is the simplest query, and it's the query which usually we might say the first time I see a table or that I need to work with, I'm going to do the select star. What this means is give me all the columns and which table?
Vendors.
Vendors. I'm going to get it from the vendors. And I'm going to do that right here. If you want to follow along, you can. Or if you want to just watch, you can do that. So now I have to be sure that I'm going to be in the vendors database. Okay. Our AP. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come down a little bit. Now, and I'll just type in SE select. Okay. And you can have it uppercase or lowercase. I'm going to hit the star, and I like to give myself some spaces. Spaces don't make any difference. From, and probably by now that drop-down box ought to come down, and I'll take advantage of that because I'm going to be good at misspelling things. All right? And then I'll come down, and then to execute, we got a little red button up here, and we do a click, and voila, there it is. And we can see I got 122 rows, and all the columns go across. That should match up with, if I drop the table down in the tree structure here, there's all my columns. Okay, so I should expect to see all of those columns right here, and I do. Okay. Any questions on that? So that's something you do, you know, if you're working with this table, you know, let's just see what's in here.
So no, I lost my computer. I don't know what happened. Just went to rain or something. It was weird.
Okay. All right. Let's add some complexity. All right. Another little exercise here. Show me a list of the vendors in sorted order. Okay. I'm gonna keep this one simple. I'd like to maybe just see the names or something like that. Okay. And let's see what oh. Let's talk about the order by clause, and then we'll do it. Okay, the way we do the sort is now we're going to use this order by clause. Okay? And I got it highlighted as red and got brackets around it. And this right here is optional. Okay. It also doesn't apply, I don't really sort the table. I resort what's referred to as a result set. So every time I execute a query, and when we get more complex queries, there's going to be multiple result sets in there. Every execution results in another table. Okay. And so this will be the final table. So we'll do this one. Select vendor name from vendors, and then order by vendor names, and see what happens. See what you observe. Okay, so I'm going to do select, and one of the things you can do is I refer to as cheating, and I'm going to do this so that I make sure I got the benders, and I'm going to do something here like this, and I want the bender name, so I'm going to blank this one out. See? I'm going to go down here and highlight vendor name, and I'm just going to drag it up here. Oh, golly. All right. I've got a public mouse here that's all gummed up. Okay. So I do that. Okay. From vendors. Okay. And I'm just going to execute it like that now and see what happens. And then I'm going to go add the clause. So I'll execute this. And they're in the order. I'll bet let's see, I hope oh golly. They're already in sorted order. Okay. Well, we'll change that. Okay. So we're not going to see any. I'm going to go put the order by clause. Then I'm going to do something else here. So I'm going to do the order by. O-R-D-R. By. Okay. And notice that's blue. Okay. Then I'm going to order by vendor name. Order by vendor name. Okay. And then I'll execute again. And it's the same. So apparently these are already sorted. I didn't know that. Okay, well, that's by default it sorts in ascending order. In other words, from high to low. If I wanted to turn it around, I could add on a little modifier here at the end. It's called DESC. Means in descending order. No. If these are reserved words, they show up as blue. Okay? And now if I do that, you can see how the order by clause does work. And I should start out with the Z's, okay, Zelka, okay, and then go all the way to the A's. All right? So my little demonstration here wasn't very good. This was already sorted. Any questions on this? Oh, it automatically does this automatically. You don't have any results? Okay, then you did something else, because good. You should get some results. It comes automatically. Okay. I'm going to probably move on and do a lot of coverage here now, and then we'll look at a couple of queries a little bit later. Some of you are now going to get wrapped around the axle and keep trying to get something that's so you don't want to miss it. So. Probably ought to just let it go right now, because you're going to start to miss this. Okay. So we'll come back to it. You'll get plenty of time to play with this. Okay. All right. Now we're going to start looking at some of the details. That we had the very simple select clause. The select clause has lots of options in it, so we want to take a look at each one of these options. And this is what's known as the general syntax clause, and it describes all of the things that we can do with it. And one of these is if we have repeated values, we see the distinct in the brackets. If we have repeated values in, say, a column of names, we can eliminate duplicates. We'll look at that. Another thing we can do is sometimes I'm not interested in everything. I'd like to see the top 5 records or the top 10 records. Or I might want to see the top 10% or the top 20%. We'll look at an example of that. But in general, what we'll have here is a column specification. And the column specifications that we've been using are just simply the column names. But sometimes we don't like the column names. They're ugly. And so if we don't like those, we can rename the column on our output with what's referred to as a label. And with the as clause. And so this is our notion of the comma separated list. I can have as many column specifications as I want. So we're going to look at each one of these in detail. So first example here is invoice number. You'll note that in the AP database, they kind of run the stuff together. If you look in the company database, they got lots of things with underscores. Okay, those are pretty ugly for display. So in this case, what I'd like to do in invoice number, I'd like to have my label show up as invoice with a space in there, and then number. When I have a space in my label, I have to have the angle or the brackets around it. That's to tell it, give me that as is. So that it uses a space as a delimiter. Okay? So if I want to rename the column of my output, I'm going to put invoice number, and I'm going to do that. Invoice date. Okay? I might want to say, well, I know it's the invoice because I know that's what I'm doing. I just want to call it date. Okay? And then the column name here is invoice total. Yeah, I know that. I just want to have total on the column. Okay? So in this case, I don't have to have those brackets around it because I don't have any space. And then it's from invoice. Okay? Any questions on it? So if you want to make your output a little prettier with nice names, then you can rename it.
Okay, so the space between as and then invoice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to have a space because that serves as a delimiter.
Yeah, the brackets are.
Okay. Maybe I misunderstood your question.
Because I see a space after as.
Right, yeah.
Date.
Right.
But there's also a space. So the invoice number is the change.
Right, yeah, because what I did here, invoice number column, the column name doesn't have any space there.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I like to have a space in there.
Okay, so if there's a space between.
Yeah, if I got a space in there, I got to put that angle brackets around there because it's going to stop after that as a delimiter, and then it's going to look at number and it says, uh-oh, you got something here I'm not expecting.
So
Okay?
basically, if there's only one word, you're gonna have to.
Yeah. Well, with that, that's the way we make it. One word, we put spaces in there. Okay, so, all right. Okay, yeah, here's an example. This is from the company database. These are really ugly. So you prefer not to have those, those put in your report. So what you do is, I like to have it employee. Now in this case, I put spaces in all of them, or 2 names, or in my label. So you can have something that says, your first name and then your last name. Okay. So, and then you'll note in this case I didn't capitalize those. It's not case sensitive. That's the default. Okay. And then this was from the employee table in the company database. Any questions on that? So it's just a way of, it's making the output look prettier. No profound concept there. Okay. We can calculate column values in our, what we've been doing is retrieving values from the table, but we can do what's referred to as a calculated column, so we can apply a function to a calculated column. We're going to look at an example of that. We're going to look at an example of string concatenation. That's when two columns have character data in them, and we want to put those two together. Okay? And then we'll have the ones as a result of some arithmetic expression. Now when we have calculated columns, we've got to apply a label because it doesn't have any name for that, so it usually leaves it either blank or expression number 1 or something like that, just depending on your system. Let's look at, I got an example of about 3 of those. Okay. This is going to be an important function, and we'll look at this one right away. I've got, this is the cast function. Now, when I have a output, and it's a string, string meaning a sequence of characters, and what the SQL server does is, if I have enough space in there for 25 characters, it's going to display the 25 spaces, but I may have a city name like Plano, which would be very short. Then I got a whole bunch of spaces. So what I'd like to do is, instead of having them print all 12 of those, or 25 spaces or 50 spaces, like in an address, I'd like to shorten it down. I kind of eyeball, what I think is going to be the maximum, and then compress the columns and put it into smaller fields. And the cast operator is the thing that's going to do that for me. So in this case, I've got employee city, which is sitting in a field of either 25 or 50 characters. I can't recall. We'll take a look. I'm going to make it 12. And when I do that, I've got to put my own name on it now, because otherwise I get, strange description up there from employee. So I'm going to do that one now, because, and I'm going to show you where we want to use that, because we've got another way to get output. Probably you want to use this in your homeworks. So. And I'll come back. I won't get clever there. I'm going to. Where's my SQL server? All right. I'm going to close that one up. I'm going to go to the company database, and I've got what was it in employee? Okay. All right. So I'm going to select employee. I'm going to take that out of there. Okay. So that I get the IntelliSense to work correctly, let me do the company database, then it's going to recognize things. So what I want, the city, employee city, so I'm going to pop that up here. All right, so I'm going to have them pop that one up here. And just for grins, I'm going to, so that you can see it, now the state is going to have that little short, let me do something here so you can see that. Okay, so now you can see right here is character. It's in a field of 25. So if I got a city that's greater than 25, too bad. You get the first 25 characters and that's it. And then the state is 2. So I'm gonna pop the state up in here. Okay, so I'm going to do that. All right, so I got that. From employee. Okay, so I'm going to take that, and I'm going to put it right there, and then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to do okay. And I don't need to do any order by here. I'm just going to do something silly. Okay. All right. Now, in here, it's not going to make any difference. It's not very interesting. What I do is I could go up here to query. I got two ways to display my results. Results to text, results to grid. It's going to grid right now. I can also send this result set to a file. We'll look at doing that later when we want to do some things. Right now, I'm going to do this to text because that's going to be an easy way for you to copy paste your result set into our little Word document that we're going to use to for your homework and the document. And so I've got employee, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and execute that. Okay, you see, so I've got all that space is in here. Okay, this doesn't look too bad here because 25 is not too much. Some of those are got 50, so then it goes way out. And if I got a whole bunch of them, then it gets out of hand. So what I'd like to do is I want to cut that down so that it's a little more reasonable. So I'm going to apply that cast operator, okay? And the way we apply the cast operator is I'm going to C-A-S-T, and I'm going to do a parentheses. Now these functions, those are predefined, and they come up in that, I guess it's kind of magenta or pink. And it'll be employee city, okay, and it'll be as, and I'm going to cast that to a variable character, that's what that means, of 12. Variable, C-H-A-R, we'll talk about data types when we create our table, and I'm going to cut that down to 12, and that ought to be a lot prettier, okay, okay. And then I've got to put another set of closing parentheses here. Okay. And I'm going to do as city. I'm going to leave it just so I'm not going to do that. Okay. And I'm going to do this. Typically, what I do, which helps to make your these more readable, is each column I'm going to put on a separate line. And particularly if I'm going to rename them. It makes your query look nicer instead of stringing them all the way across. All right? So that's a function. A function is usually got some kind of name, and it's got an argument in here, arg. Okay? And this argument here is, a column name as a data type. We're going to change it. That's our argument for that. Okay? And I'm going to execute this. And if I execute it, you see, well, it looks, I got that down. Boy, that's nice, isn't it? I got down to one space. I really cut that one close. But, what is that? Well, we can kind of tell, but, it is kind of crummy. Okay. So
will the length of that field always be 12?
Yep, it'll be 12 for this result set. You don't like that? Change it. Okay.
So it's padding spaces in there fine?
Yeah, it does. That's the way it does. It's looking at, when it looks, if I don't put anything in there, it looks to the data type here. It says, okay, you're in 25, so I've got to cover it. I don't know whether you got less or more than that. It doesn't figure things out for you. Okay. And so here, we're going to figure it out for them. Say, we're going to leave it that way. Now, if I miss it, Okay, let's just try to get in. All right.
So adding space, you just, if I wanted it 60,
Pardon?
if I wanted to make it 60 spaces, I would just add 60.
Yeah, you say variable character 60, and then you'd have really a bad looking output. You're supposed to want to improve it in this case, okay?
Hey, you may have one of those boxes.
Okay,
60.
okay. So, yes. So here now I would go ahead and, okay, let me do this, delete, okay? And then do as city. Okay, do as city, and then execute that, and then now I've got it. Now I've got a label there. Now that's a little nicer. Okay. So that's the way we'll use that. And we'll have other functions that we'll use also. Yes, sir?
How are you changing the result view? I have the responses.
Oh, okay, so you come up here to query, and you got to drop down. You go all the way to the bottom here, and it says results to. Results to text, or I could have it results to grid, okay, and I can execute. Okay, so it goes in the grid. The grid automatically makes the adjustment, so I never have to do the casting. Okay? So, you know, if I come back up here, query, results to text, and I execute again, then it goes to text. Okay. Question? Yes, sir.
Okay, the first line is, okay, the first line is
Right.
is the first column.
Yeah, let me click. I got that. Let me get that out so we can see the. Let's get that over here. Okay.
When I look at this,
Oh.
I would want to add city there as well, to make it look a little more professional.
You mean
If
as
put
state?
city,
That's
I
state.
wouldn't have known where to put the word city to make it appear in the spot it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's the way the label is. That I have. You know, if we go back to the. Let me go back to the. Let me go back to this right here. If we go back to our labeling, we had, remember our earlier labeling? If I go back, do that. If I back up to this, column label for our result set. So we always, what you have is, you have your column name, and then you have as, and then what your result name is. Okay, and if I have anything in there, in this case, we just had the columns. But when we have a function in there, which what we call cast, you know, that's a function. If I don't put a label in there, then I got nothing, as you saw. So,
All right, I'm trying.
so it's always going to be whatever you have here, then as, and city. Example. And so if we go back and we can do something else here. If we go back here, and instead of having employee state, yeah, that's pretty crummy too. As state, S-T-A-T-E. Yeah, that's more professional. Oh, if it shows up blue like that, I'm not sure what that reserved word means, but it probably is going to give me some heartburn. Okay?
But it won't.
So, but I want to use that word because that makes sense. I'm not going to go do something hokey now. So this is where you got to, you know, as is. So you're telling it, I don't care what it is, I'm going to do it as is. Okay, see, now I take away the blue.
It executed anyway.
Okay, it did. Sometimes it does, and sometimes they'll end up with red squigglies and then, and then a message. No, you don't want any messages when they're in red too. Okay, so here I'll execute it. Okay, so yeah, I always cover myself when I see them when it comes up blue. I'm going to take it. Yes.
Is there a reason it should freeze up? As here, so I just froze it. This is nice to me.
We must have really hit them.
Are you running your file off the network or off your desktop?
No, he was referring, you had, to use any of the stuff, you had to really, you didn't try to, you copied, anything that was on the iDrive, you copied over, didn't you?
Everything was working until I executed that.
Okay. Let me ask a question. Did you copy all the stuff to the C drive or the desktop? Okay, that was his question. Okay. No, that wouldn't have been the reason. Okay. All right. Well, I got a whole bunch of squigglies under that.
I think that's because of the spelling.
Probably, something. It behaves like that every once in a while. I'll take that off of there. Let's go back. All right. Any questions on using the cast function? You're gonna want to use that. Okay. All right. And okay.
Excuse me. Is the cast function only applicable to the variable characters?
No. We can cast from numeric fields to character fields and vice versa. In this case, we're just actually casting so that we can squeeze it down. That's all we're doing. Okay. And this is string concatenation. Okay. So this is a way of looking at that employee database. Suppose I'd like to have one column, and I'd like to have your last name, or even maybe your first name, and then and then your last name. In just one column, rather than we store everything in our names are stored in separate columns for last name and first name. I like to have a prettier output that says John Smith, other than Smith and then John in a column. So we can use this thing called a string concatenation character, and that's done with a plus. I'm going to really now do some shortcut because I did some clever stuff here earlier, and these are all out there, or they will be on the iDrive. And so I'm going to I've got use company database here, and I'm going to kind of shortcut things a little bit. You notice I got a lot of stuff commented out here. Let me comment this one out here, and I'm going to come back to that one. Comment that out. And you can comment on here. See that block says comment, so it comments it out. A comment, which is not used by the server, is just 2 dashes, and it's just some nice words for you. So then I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to string concatenation. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to uncomment that. Oh, commented it. Uncommented. All right. Now I've got it uncommented. I've got a comment that says string concatenation. I've got cast, and I've got employee last name as variable character 10. And I've got a concatenation operation, and then I've got a comma in there inside of, and a space inside of a set of quotes. A set of quotes gives me a string, and that is what's referred to as a literal string. And then I'm going to add to it, concatenation means I'm just going to add to it the first name, and I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to have this whole thing as name. And I got it in brackets like that, because I think when I use the word name, it comes up blue. So, do it again. Okay, you can see it a little clearer that way. Okay. Any questions on that? So you can, if your columns are made up of character fields, then you can concatenate these things together. You can do something like that when it makes sense, you know. It just makes it nice. And if I wanted to have, you know, the names turned around, then you can do that. Any questions on that?
If you want the names turned around, so should we specify employee first name on the first line and employee last name on the second line of the cast?
Yeah, I'll just do that now. Go ahead and, I'm gonna move this one up. That might be an easier way to do this. Let's do it this way, see if I can get real clever here. All right, so now I'm gonna do this. Okay, and now I'm gonna do this. And all right, so, and here all I need is, I'll concatenate one space, okay, and concatenate that, and then I'll take this all away. Okay, and I'll move this out. Okay. I think that look right. Okay. Cast, first name and, yep, and it got one space, and then the last name, employee. That's ought to be pretty neat. Okay, and then execute it. Okay. There you go. Douglas Bob. But Suzanne Joyner. Okay. 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 Huh? Okay.
What if we wanted to line under block here and line up under block? The first one?
Is that, you mean lined up?
Line the first letter of the last, first name.
Line them all up like that?
Yeah, I didn't know.
You know, you cast those in a field, so you would have been the same thing if you would have done it, if you would have, you know, you left them in separate columns, and then do the cast. Okay.
So how would you put them in ascending order?
Ascending order?
Yes, sir.
Well, how would you do it? Okay. Okay. That's the quiz for the night. Okay. Order by. Okay. Now. Okay. Now, what your order by. Now. I've got to use the order by on a real column. Can't use it on the label.
So you just do it to the function.
So I'm gonna order by, and what do you want ordered by? First name or the last name, right? And you want it ascending? Okay. Employee. Okay. Employee last name. Okay. Control V. don't even have to do that, that's the default. Okay? And amend, Bach, Bordoli, da-da-da-da, shoot. Okay? Now, I think with this version, we could have did the order by the label. Let's see what results we get with that. It's going to be as the label is, okay? And so it'll be by basically the first name. So if I go in here and I replace that with the label. This is not on earlier versions. This is on, I think it's going to be on this one. Let's try it. I can't recall. Okay, Control V. Okay. I can do order by on the label. Yep. And of course, it's going to be basically on the first name, isn't it? Because that was the first name, you know, is in our result set, not the column name. All right. So if I want them ordered by last name, then I've got to use the real column. Okay. If I want to add this, then I could use the label in this case. And that matches up. This happens to match up with the first one. Okay. Okay. Any other questions on that? Yeah, these are relatively easy. Your homework is going to be a lot harder. All right.
Oh, yay.
All right. All right. Arithmetic expressions. All right. So we can do arithmetic in here. Our arithmetic expressions are always going to be in the form of a binary expression. It's going to be an expression, an operator, an expression. Expression could be simply a column, or it could be another arithmetic expression or any kind of a function. And the operators are going to be multiplication, division, modulo. We won't be working with that. Take my programming classes and the computer science people, we do the modulo on them. Okay. And we do addition and subtraction. Okay. So, I probably got a simple example. Oh yeah, here we go. We're going to give you a raise. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this would be an example of select employee's social security number, and we're going to list your old salary, and then we're going to list your new salary, which was a 15% increase. That's pretty nice. We don't see those too much anymore. Okay. And then we're from employee. And that would be an example. So in this case, I had a column, here's the operator, and then the other operand was just simply a literal value. And I think maybe I got to see if I've got a cheat sheet in here on this one. Yeah, sure do. Wonderful. Yeah, we'll just take that one out, and I'm going to comment that out. And then in here, arithmetic expression example. All right, I'm going to uncomment that one. Okay. And this also has got an example of labels. You probably almost invariably are going to use labels. That gives you a nice professional looking output. And I think I'm good to go. And happened here. Okay, there we are. Well, oh, okay. This is what's happened here is that this is expressed in decimal format, and they've got it's probably even expressed as money, And so that's got a lot of space. Yes.
Say you have a whole bunch of comments and pages and things in it, can you do a control F inside of there to find a specific one that you preset up? Can you search the top part? Can you search your comments to look for a specific one?
If it's unique, yeah.
Your question again.
She wants to know, can you search your script, like we do with Microsoft, like a control F?
Control F. Okay. I'm not used to doing that. I've been used to doing with numbers, but we'll try it. So I got a Control F. Find what? Oh,
So you can just have to, oh my.
okay. Okay. Now what do you want to look for?
Let's do arithmetic since that's what we're looking for.
Arithmetic? Oh, okay. Because I had something called arithmetic.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was written. You plan on working with big scripts, huh?
I plan on looking at big
Like,
scripts.
oh, you're looking at big. All right. And so I just need to find the next one.
Yeah, okay.
Did that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Probably won't need to do that in here, but I keep the scripts pretty small. Although that one that created your database or executed, created the table, down there you can find some stuff. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, if you going back to here, the reason we got all those spaces, those aren't characters, but if we go down and look at salary, it's money. Okay, we'll talk about data types later, but it has up to 19 digits of precision. So what you're seeing is the 19 spaces there. You could represent 19 digits. So if I wanted to trim that down, you're probably going to ask, how do you do that? Okay. All right. So I'm going to get into something here. Okay. We'll do it, but we'll come back to it later. Okay. So what I need to do is that let's see, how many digits of precision do I have in here? Oh heck, these are all rounded numbers. So what I'd like to do is, we don't need the zeros and decimals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to represent that as a decimal with 5 digits of precision. Okay, so that well, I better not do that. I better give it because I want some space in there as well. Well, let's see. Oh no, this'll. No, we can do that. Let's try that. All right. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to cast. All right. So we're going to do it. We'll do one of them first to see if it flies right. Okay. Cast. All right. And employee salary as decimal. 6 decimal. All right. Promising. It's blue. Parentheses. And we'll go with 5. There's no 6-digit salaries in that bunch. Okay. And then I need one more closing operation there. Okay. As old salary. I want to, before I go and do another one, I want to, and that's what you can do here. This is pretty interactive, so, don't commit until you know you've got something that's reasonable. Uh-oh. Doesn't like that. It won't do that. Decimal 5. it still hangs on to it like it was his money. Well, I don't have a good answer for that one. I will do something else. And then I'll give up and do a little research. You can
Is there
see.
something in the properties that we call them?
Well, no, the property here, the column, no, I thought I could take it down to that. It may not let me do that. Salary is money. I mean, it's 19 digits of precision. That's what you're saying there. But I said, I only want to see 5 digits of precision.
And it did, it trimmed off the decimals, but.
It trimmed off the
It
decimals,
extended the-
but I still get 19. So
Can you cast that entire,
I'm going to do something else here. I've got, this gets converted to character field. I'm going to convert it to, just to cover myself, 10 characters. So I'm going to carry, I can, variable character. Actually, I don't have to be variable, do I? I'll just have the spaces and all. I'm going to make it 8. So I'm going to do it character, okay? And then I'm going to say 8. And I'm going to do that. Okay? And then I'm going to do that. Bingo! Except now I got the decimals back. Yes, sir.
You can do it by doing the cast, putting the parentheses around the employee salary and doing the as decimal 5. The double,
I'm sorry.
after the cast, this is another parentheses. To do it as decimal, you can do it as decimal. Decimal 5.
Not after I've converted it to character.
Correct, I mean, the way you get it, it wouldn't work before when you're trying to do it decimal.
Yeah.
It does work here. That's if you have to enclose employee salary in parentheses, and then do your as, and decimal.
Enclose employee salary.
But after that, after cast, put in a parentheses.
I got the cast,
I put another parentheses.
another set of parentheses.
All right. Close out employee salary.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Now change the character rate to
Okay.
decimal 5.
Okay. What motivated you to do that? Or did you just guess?
Well, I work in C#, and a lot of times you have to separate everything out that would work right.
Okay, thank you. That's good. That's a good observation. Nothing like taking those other languages to help you with something else. All right, so now I'm going to go back and do the decimal 5.
Missing an L?
Okay. Hope you guys can see your own mistakes like that. You don't just raise your hand and say, hey, my program's not working. They want me to come back and look at it. Okay.
You want to use square brackets with decimal?
Delete. All right. Let's see if that flies. It is?
Yeah. That's 5.
Well, it's 5.
But I don't know why you want
I still got this. I want to get rid of that. You have it? You don't have it?
I have that too.
Okay,
I
that's,
haven't figured that one out.
okay, that didn't help me. Okay, so you got to do it as character, okay? Character always works. Okay. Let's move on. Okay, you led me astray there. Better remember that. Okay. We're not going to do this one, but now we're starting to get a little fancier with our, this is where we really take advantage and do some arithmetic that's in part of the table, is that what they do is that in their invoices table, they'll have an invoice number, they got a total column, and then they got the payments that you've made so far, and they also have a column where, you know, you got some credits coming. And so now what they'd like to do is have another column that's computed based on the other columns of the balance due. And of course the balance due is going to be my total invoice minus the payments that I've made minus the credits that have been applied, and that's the amount that's still due. So now we can do this, you know, invoice total minus payment minus credit total as the balance due. So that is a good example of now, you know, doing a little more interesting query. This would be in the AP database. So I'm gonna move on but we'll encounter something like that more later. Okay, now I'm going to get some more interesting things here. Show me all the cities and the states where we have vendors. Okay. So we got to go to the vendors table. All I want to see is the city and the states. I won't see anything else. Okay. And so I want to run something that looks like that. Now this one, I want you to run so that you can see what we have, and then we'll, okay, vendor city, vendor state, and then we'll see a solution that might be a little nicer. So I'm gonna do myself a new query. And I'll just get another one out there. Okay, so I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close up that one, and I'm gonna go to the AP database. AP, and I'm going to do a select, and all I want to do is I want to look at where's my vendors, and I got vendor city, okay, comma, and state, comma, nope, no comma after that one, from vendors. And let's order by the city. For grams. Order by the city. Order by the vendor city. And then execute. Uh-oh.
You're on company. I don't know why that thing doesn't change automatically.
Well, no, I thought I changed it, and then it. Okay. Well, we'll give the boss the report of 122 rows. Okay. He asked for it. There it is. Is there anything wrong with it?
Well, you have duplicates.
Duplicates, don't we? Okay. What's the solution?
Distinct.
Okay. And distinct applies to this result set. It doesn't apply to a column or anything like that. I've got a result set. I got to do one more thing to it. So that's the way it's really working. So it actually does this result set and then applies the distinct to it, and then you get another result set, and that's the final one. Okay. to make that point. So now I'm going to do select distinct. I put it right up here. It applies to the result set. This is the place where you put it. DISTINCT. And it is blue. And 53 rows, and that's more like a report that you'd like to have. And then you could do something nicer, like maybe concatenate those together in one column. Question?
Can you create a new column by doing a search for the number of duplicates in, like, an arithmetic column for each of the section of the final column? So let's say I wanted to find out if there were three for the Boston, Massachusetts one, and find out that there are 3 locations in Boston, Massachusetts.
You want to hang on 3 more weeks?
Well, if you got me for another time. Well, something done.
We're gonna look at query aggregates in actually 2 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna defer it till then. Okay? All right. And then if I forget, remind me when we get to it. Okay? We're gonna do multi-table, and then we'll do summary queries in 2 weeks. Okay? I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. Don't be afraid to ask the questions, and I'll maybe defer some of them, because some of you have got, you're probably doing something right now. Your job says, yeah, I'd like to know that. And if you're really in a pinch, then you can come see me. All right. Next one. There. Okay, that's the answer. Okay. Eliminates duplicate rows. That's the important thing. And it applies to the result set. It doesn't apply to the first column. Okay. Okay. And what it actually does, in order to do that, we didn't. Let's go back and run that again, because what happens. And I wanted to see the duplicates, but let's do something, because I want to make it a point there, is I'm going to take this out, okay, and I'm going to take this out, okay, and now I'm going to execute that, and I don't see things in the same order. Now, it turns out they put some of these together, and that had to do with just the way the vendors were listed in there. But when you do a distinct, first thing it does, it'll take this result set and sort it in ascending order. And what you can think of is that the reason it does that, because now I'm going to go down from the top to the bottom, and I'm going to look at the first record, and it's going to look at the following record. It says, is there one that looks like the first one? If there is, I take it out. And then I keep going down. So that all of the records where I have duplicates will be right next to each other. Now you don't have to worry about that, but that's the reason it does that. So when you use the distinct, you'll automatically get it in sorted order. And so I'm surprised that they're sitting there like that. Maybe because this is kind of a
text
try.
that is your results are usually returned into the sort order of the primary key.
Pardon?
The sort order is set by the primary key, not necessarily this.
Right, and it's still and
Is vendor city your
oh,
primary
okay. It's
key?
because these are okay, and their primary key is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's crude. Okay, so that's why some of these are. So now if we take the distinct. Okay, and I got the distinct, and now I execute that. Okay, and then we'll get those in sort. Now that's the row number, not necessarily because I think their primary key in this table is also, you know, and what I refer to as an enumerated key. Okay, it's identity key. Okay. Okay. Now, show me the 5 vendors with the highest invoices. We'll use the top 5. We want the vendor ID, the invoice total, and we'll sort by the invoice total in descending order. And again, the top 5 here applies to the result set. So invariably, when you work with the top 5, if I don't do any sort of anything, I'm going to get the 5 top records that were in the order in which they were inserted into the table. That's not probably what you want. So in this case, you usually going to, you know, in the case of invoice total, I'd like to make sure that the highest one is at the top, and then last one, the lowest one is at the bottom. So this way I can see the top 5 or the top 10. Okay. It applies to the results. Now, let's look at another one example. I have the top 5 records. I can always do this by percentage. So I can look at the highest 6% of the invoice total. And if I do something like that, I use top 6%. Same logic applies here. You're always going to have an order by clause of some sort. And on the column that's of interest to you that you're looking at. Now, there's another feature that if the cutoff point, okay, let's suppose I have got these percentages or even with ties, or with the top, is I got record here, got a record here, and this was the 6%. Then I got the next record here. This would be the 6% point. If the next record was the same as this one, you'd like that one to be shown too, even though it's going to be more than 6%. And so there's a clause that you add in there, is that if there's a tie down here at the bottom, and if there's another tie and another tie, it'll show those, so that you get a better picture. So typically, what you'll do, even when you use, if there's a possibility of ties, you'll use the with ties. Top 5 with ties, top 6% with ties. You think that's going to happen. Okay, the where clause. Okay, so what we've been doing so far is just been selecting columns, and we get all the rows. Now we'd like to filter out the rows by some criteria. And this is where we use the search condition, the where clause. The where clause and some type of search condition. And we got several types of clauses that we can, search conditions that we can look at. One of them is an expression, either in the form of expression, operator, and an expression. And we use the comparison. Okay, this is is one greater than the other? You know, if it's, this is greater than that, or this is more than that, let me put that in the results then, when it evaluates the true. So here's an example of show me all the invoices with totals less than $1,000. Maybe we're going to write these off or something, I don't know. Okay. So an example of that would be, you're going to have your columns of interest to the invoice number and the total, and then from invoices where invoice total is less than 1,000. When this condition is true for each invoice number, then it goes to the results set. So this is what's sometimes referred to as a table scan. It's going to touch each record in there. So if I have 114 invoices, I think that's what's in this table, it's going to look at each one, it's going to apply this condition, and if that's true, and then it's going to add it to the results set. Clear for everyone? I'm going to go through a bunch of these because I'm going to leave you with some time to just play around a little bit rather than work with the individual, unless there's one that's really special. Okay, show me all the invoices with a balance due. Okay, now we're going to come back to that computed column thing again. And this one starts to get a little more complex. So this will be a case where, okay, I'm going to have the invoice number, and I'm actually going to go ahead and compute the balance due because now I'd like to see it, but I don't need to see all the, you know, the details of the column from invoices. And then the clause here says if the invoice total is greater than the payment total plus the credit total, then I still owe something. And then I'm going to have, in this case, is a case where I actually did use the label because the balance due now is a computed column, and I'm interested in that. And we'll do it by descending order. Okay. That's getting a little more complex. Okay. Okay. Now, another problem is list all the invoices before November 1, 2012 with invoice totals that are less than 5,000. Okay. This is a complex condition. So when I have a complex condition, or sometimes we refer to as a compound condition, I've got two search conditions. And I've got what's referred to as logical operators in which I can put these two together. So I had two conditions here, okay? And I'm going to use an AND operator. So when I need this and this, I'll use an AND operator. If I'm happy with this or this, then I use the OR operator. Then sometimes we use, you know, kind of defer the not because it's a little bit, when we want to reverse the logic. Okay. So in this case, for our example, we look at the invoice number and the total. The criteria was, I'm looking for the invoices that are less than 5,000, and the invoice date was less than 2012. On dates, you can have, there's a number of different formats that we can have for dates, and our dates we can put in strings like this. And it's chapter 8. These are things you can just look up. We're not going to go through chapter 8 and kind of, enumerate everything in there. But usually this is the way to express a date if you want to do a comparison in a string. It automatically goes and makes the conversion to the way it's stored. So this is an example of a compound condition. I've got two conditions in which I need for this to go into the results set. Okay, now I've got got yet another one. This is even more compound. List all the invoices after November 1, 2012, or, okay, got an or condition here, invoice totals that are greater than 500 and with a balance due. Okay. Now we got something here we need to refer to as order of precedence. Let me put that example up there, see what we do. Okay. So if you'll recall what we had, I'm interested in, is it invoices greater than that date or greater than 500. And then, and the order of precedence, if I just put these in without the parentheses, and I had this, or, and then I had the and then this, the ands would be done first. And I don't want that to happen. I want to evaluate the or part first. Then the and result. So it's going to be the invoice or invoice total greater than 500. And I have to put that in parentheses. Otherwise, it would be this expression and this expression would get evaluated first. And that's the way the compiler works. Okay. So it's not going to be the way you might want to be thinking. So you have to force it. Okay. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. So when you have an or condition and you want that to be execute first and get a result, be part of a clause or the and, then you've got to put that in parentheses.
Would that be for any clause or just the or? If I want to do the and first,
If you want to do the and first, then
we just want to put principal.
yeah. But what I would do is, it's just my personal preference, I like to put parentheses in anyway, and so I can understand what goes with what. It is one long line, I've just got it on 3 lines here. Okay. The where clause is 1 line, okay? But I'm running out of space here. But you don't usually want to do that anyway. You want to. So usually when I break them up like that, I like to put this operator out here on the end so I can see it. All right. Another query problem. List all the vendors who do not reside in California, Nevada, or Oregon. List all the vendors who do not reside in there. That's where all the weirdos are. Okay? Our brother lives in California. Okay? Good place for him. Right. Right. So, we're interested in everybody else. Okay. So we got a nice way. So this is a place where we use the not operator. And not only that, we can put this into a list. So basically this is a shorthand for an or. Okay, except it's a lot nicer. So it's going to be where the test expression, not, we're going to be using that not. It's not in this list. So if you're not in Nevada or Oregon or California, hey, you're good. We're going to list you out. Okay? So, translating that. Okay. Boy, that's nice. Okay. But, this really is a shorthand or. And so vendor name, show me all the vendors, okay, that are not in this group. I put the quotations around these because this really is a literal string, okay? And you can tell that by looking on your tree structure. It says that's a variable character field. If it's a character field, it's going to have the single quotes. Because what it's going to do is if you don't have the single quotes there, it's going to try to treat that as an identifier. And you don't have an identifier with those names.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So, can we use double quotes instead of single?
No, single quotes, you got to be careful because in other languages you can use the double quotes. Single quotes for certain. We used to use the double quotes for labels, but now we use the brackets for labels. So in those labels, you can still, I think you can still use double quotes, but I wouldn't do it because it's confusing. Okay. Okay, we've got a lot of specialized operators here. So, and these are just niceties. And it's list all the invoices with a balance due that is between $200 and $500. And what they mean here is $200 and $500 inclusive. Okay. And we got a nice clause for that. Where the test expression can either be a not, which means not between, that would mean outside, but if it's between, and then the beginning expression and the ending expression.
And it will always be inclusive?
May always be inclusive, yes sir. So here, they're looking at the balance due, so I said we were going to beat this thing to death, okay? Looking at that balance due is where the balance due got this and this. I got to spell it out here. Okay, I can't use the word balance due. Between 200 and 500. Okay, the way to look at that is look at a list of all of your balance dues on a number line. And I've got 200 and 500. Between means that point and that point inclusive. Okay. If I said not between, not, okay, not between, then it would mean everything that was greater than 500, or, okay, it's an or, less than 200.
So
And
we include both of those sets, right?
Pardon?
We include both of those, right?
Yes. So if we wanted to exclude 200 and 500, we just use greater than and less than,
No.
Not between.
not.
Okay.
There's multiple
Yeah, wait
ways
a
to do
minute.
it.
Let me ask you- Yeah, ask your question again.
Okay, I want my list to be between the result set to be 201 to 499. I want to exclude the endpoint.
Oh, you want to exclude the endpoints.
Well, I guess we could just change the numbers. couldn't
You
we?
change the numbers, right? Okay. You don't like 200, you don't like 500, but you want 201? what? Yeah, 200, 201 to 499.
I'm okay.
Good. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Why can't we use the term balance due instead of the invoice total?
It is a label.
Okay.
Okay, this you're actually looking at the values stored in the database. Okay, and that it's actually taken that table and it's brought it into memory. Okay, so you've got to work with that. This is simply a label on your output result. Now, it's that special case. It works with the order by, but think about that. That is the result set. So you've already got that marked. So the order by is really operating on the result set. We don't know anything about any of the table stuff anymore, okay? You got another question?
Not the two, we're going to include the two
No,
and
no,
then
no, no. Actually, these are complements. The and the or are complements, so that it includes the whole number line. So and goes from 200 to 500 inclusive. Okay, so what's left is everything that's greater and everything that's less than. And we can get that with the not operator. Okay. That's like set out for stuff.
But that's part of linear.
Yep, linear algebra.
If you want to get 201 to 499, like you said, you could just say greater than 200 and less than 500.
Yes. There's multiple ways to do it.
Yeah, right. We can use the, let's go, this is sugar syntax, okay? We could have said, I'm just gonna, I'll use the balance due at X, okay? I could have said, for between, I could have said X is equal to or greater than 200, and X is less than equal to 500. And if you want to really go the math route. Okay?
I'm good.
All right? Okay, now, if I wanted the other set, this is where you get the complement, and you can see it from the math part, is that X is less than 200, or X is greater than 500. That gives me, add those two up, and you get everything. So, do I have to use this? No. Can I use this? Sure. That was your question, wasn't it? Yes? No? Do you have another question on it? Okay. I can use either one. So, actually, I like the math stuff better, but business analysts probably like this a little bit better, or more readable. It's just the way they think. Okay. Pardon?
I agree.
All right. Well, they wrote it for you. You're supposed to be doing. They want you to do queries. They don't want those nerds doing queries. Okay.
Whoa. That's where I draw the line, though.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, man. List all the students who did not take the exam. I got to run this one every once in a while. Okay. Okay, students who did not take the exam will not have an entry in a score column. And I think I got another set of tables that go with this. This is going to get us into the business of nulls. And these are going to create heartburn for us. Okay? We're going to talk about nulls, then we're going to see how we work them. Okay, null means no entry was made. I want to make a point there. No entry was made. It's not a space in there. It's not a zero. Because those are real things. A space is a real character. A zero is a real value. Null means no entry was made. Nothing. I'll leave it with that metaphor. Then if somebody asks me the right question, then I use it. Computer science nerd stuff. the way we work with it, because we can't say, is it equal to no, no, okay? We don't have anything there to compare. It's whether the expression is or is not no. This is the way we're going to know whether we got an entry or no entry. Okay. So if I want to see if the student ID from the exam scores, and I want to see if they took the exam or not, or didn't take the exam, it's where the score is no. I'm almost certain that was a table of figures in my imagination. But he's got some example stuff in here with the null stuff. And those are out there. I think I put those out there on the iDrive for you. So, and he's got descriptions in your book. So I'm not gonna dwell a lot on this. But here I have I've got, let's just do a little example here on the board. So I got student ID and okay. And I got another column here, exam scores. Okay, and I got like this. Okay, and I got student number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 88, 95, 77, 87. This student took an exam, this one 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 did not. It's empty. I didn't put 0 in there because we could have got 0. This is the query that says student ID number 3 didn't take the exam. It's going to come down here and look to see, is there no entry? Okay. Is it no? So I can, the word, and when you do a query on that thing, it will display the word no. What it does. So that you know it was empty, not 0, not spaces. Okay. 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 Now, list of all the students who received a 0 for the exam. Okay. That's a valid score. Not a very good one, but you know, it is valid. Okay? Then I do something like that. Okay? I can't say equal no. That may be what you'd like to do. Okay? It doesn't do that. I've got to use that is phrase. Okay? All right. List all the students who took the exam and did not receive a 0 for the exam. How would I do that?
Not C.
List all students who took the exam and did not receive a 0. So it's a compound condition. Okay? Okay. If you took the exam, okay, it's not no. And if it wasn't 0, it's not 0.
If you said just greater than 0, that would have excluded the nulls, right? Because you would have had to have a value be greater than 0.
Well, that would be something I would think, but it may not behave that way. Let's go out here. Let's see if I've got something that may answer that question. I can try that one. So where's my SQL server? I've got some, let's go out here on the iDrive, see if we can answer your question. I'm not sure. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to the SQL server, and I'm going to attach that. And in this case, I'm going to put in the examples. Okay, there's my examples. And I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to say OK. Now I got examples. And I got a whole bunch of tables in here. And I may have to, if I find something real quick, then I will look at it. If I don't, I'll defer your question and create a, go back and create this.
Null sample hasn't.
Okay, let's take a look. That's what I was thinking it in mind. That's what it's got. It's got columns. Got an invoice. Okay, it's probably got some invoices and no invoices there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go here and let's do something. Let's look at here and see what we got. Take a quick look at that table. Okay, do this. Okay, so I want to look at all columns. Okay. And then I want to look at, delete that, and I want to look at null sample. And I'm going to take that off there. I don't need that. And then I'm going to get it samples, examples, and then I'm going to execute that. Okay. And what do we got here? We got something with 0, and we got something with null. Okay, so I'm so we're gonna go back there and list me I'm gonna list all the invoices. Okay, so I'm gonna do a select. And I'm going to list invoice total. Let's see, I don't want to list invoice total. I want to list invoice ID.
You want a total, right? Because that's the one that has a null.
Right, but I said, what was my, let's go back and look at I'm going to translate it. List me the student, okay, the ID, but what I'm measuring is, it would be the invoice, where the invoice total is not null and it's not 0.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that one, and then we're gonna do it with his suggestion to see if that behaves like we think it is. Okay, invoice total, because we did have we got a 0. And we got a null, so this is perfect, okay? And so from null sample, put that in there. Okay, oh good. Delete.
Which database are you pulling from?
Examples.
Okay.
Okay. And where invoice total, is not null, LL, and what did I do? Hit it too many times, backspace. And All right, just back them all the way, in D, and invoice total. All right, and invoice total. Okay. It is not zero. Okay.
That's a no.
Oh, it sure is, isn't it? Okay.
Still a no.
All right, eyeballs are getting funny now. All right. And now we should see the 125 and this number right here. Okay. And we'll execute that. And it was number 1 4. Okay, what I ought to do is,
Would it be from the Rocky Moore sample? Will you see the
okay. And then, okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh. All right, I'm gonna close this one out. I'm just saving that down here. And I'm gonna block that one. All right, now we're gonna come here and say, well, would we have got the same answer if we would have simply said greater than 0. And we do. And the reason I'm cautious is because I'm not sure how it's going to handle the no. So in this case, they're okay. Yes, you get the same answer. When you do this, you're ensuring that the nulls are not going to be in there. Okay.
But if the null is null, null is has.
I know, but sometimes it'll
Bite you.
that's the right word, bites you. You don't know how it's going to behave. It's indeterminate sometimes in a query. So that's the reason you would do something like that. Yeah, it's a little contorted, but in this case, in the case of the math, in this case it's doing, yeah, well, it is doing math because it's doing comparison. Okay, and then it's ignoring the null.
Yeah, because if you do less than 0, it wouldn't come up.
Pardon?
If you do less than 0, the null wouldn't come up.
Okay. All right.
All right, so if 0 in computer science is power off and 1 is power on, that was the question you were looking for earlier? So earlier, okay,
Okay.
0 is 0 for the field.
Right.
And null is no information.
That's right.
So I think earlier you were asking, you were looking for a question from us. If 0 is off,
Or the question is, how does it know what a null is?
yeah,
You're on to it. What when you're in your, you don't see this, but for every field in here, there's, for every field, I'm just going to have one field here. Well, no, I'll put a record. Suppose I got a record. I got a record with 4 fields. Okay, I got a record. Record with 4 fields. Okay. 1, 2. Well, I'll go with 3. And then I'll stay. So here I'm storing information here, but there's not using that. There's 1 bit in this field. in that storage area. So the only storage is for that. Here's the storage.
So the 1 bit is just making it a field.
I got one bit there. It's 0. We start. No entry. 0. Like no entry. I add something to it. 3. Bit goes to 1. A bit can only be a 0 or 1. Okay. So this has got a 1 in here. I'll put a 1. I didn't enter anything here. I'll put 4 in here. There's a bit 1. So when we use the isNull function, what it's looking at are those fields right there. So if it is null, okay, the bit's 0. If it's not null, the bits are 1. That's what it's looking for. So there's no magic there, you know. But you know, now what happens there really is something there, because that's the way memory is. You know, sometimes it's zeroed out, sometimes it's not. But the fact is, I didn't put anything. As soon as I enter something in that field, then that bit gets set, and it's set forever.
So even if you enter something and then later delete it.
That's right. You've already done the enter.
What happens if you try to do a calculation on a null field?
You get a null result. That's the heartburn stuff. That's where we get into the analytics part. That's why you have to go through and to start doing the analytics on some data, and you got to go through and find where's the nulls and what's the implication of that, and because that's going to skew your results. You got a lot of them.
Like a bunch of averages of
Yeah.
scores.
Yeah.
If somebody didn't take a test that's null.
Yeah.
What's the average do?
Yeah,
What do the average?
It may get counted. Yeah. But there's nothing there. Okay, so that skews your results. Okay. All right. Okay. Example. I'm going to give you a homework problems, and they're going to be for example, I might have given you a problem, and I've got a description written here, and it says write a select statement that returns 3 columns from the vendor's table, da 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 da. Okay, that's the problem. I want you to write the query for that. This is not this one here. This is an example. And then I want you to write the query and show me the results. And so you're going to receive a document that looks like this for your homework. I usually give about 3 problems, and then immediately in this document you'll cut and paste your query after you get it to work, and then you cut and paste the result set. And this is where you want to use the text. It makes it a lot easier. Now, some of you are probably pretty good at doing the word stuff, and you can, if you're really swift, what it takes to do that. You can get it in that nice grid format. I'm sure everybody will chunk it to show off on how to do it. I'm sure they're going to do that. Okay. So now, quite often here, you're going to get big long queries. results. 122 rows. Don't give me 122 rows. Okay. So if your query results come out with lots of rows in it, then go back and restate the query with the top 10 in there. And so, you know, because I know what these roughly should look like. And so, you know, just show me that, you know, you got the first 10, and that'll be good enough. Okay? Otherwise, you know, I'm going to be getting pages out, but you know. Okay? So you have to use some judgment there. So especially at this early, you're probably going to get a lot because you know, I got real simple queries. Yeah, I did. So, for those of you that got a lot of skill already, easy. For some of you, just beginning, okay, you're going to struggle with it. All right. So I've got this example out there on the iDrive already. You know, this is how I want it submitted. So I gave you the problem description there. You write the query, you know, identify it, and then put the results right after. And then you submit it at the beginning of the period the next time. You're on the page. Okay. Is that clear for everyone? Okay. All right. Now, problem set. So that usually I have about 3. And so I'm going to give you the exercises here in the Riverbend database. Now, I tried to scan these things. It didn't work very well. I'm going to have it. So what I did, I swiped these out of an old book. It's out of print, so I'm not, you know, and I have some academic license to do some copy and limited distribution. But I've got the descriptions of the problems, got number 4, 8, and 14, and I got one piece of paper. One of them's on the front side, and the other 2 are on the back side, even down the circle. So I'm gonna pass these out. So don't lose it and tell me in the middle of the week you lost it. Somebody uses that for that. Work on exercises out of this book probably about 3 or 4 times. I'm going to try to get the student helper upstairs in our office.
Are we back on track for the reading or on schedule? On schedule?
Yeah. So next time it's going to be multi-table query. Where you want to go ahead and want to look ahead of time. More than one table. That's what it's fun about. 2 tables, 2 tables.
Copy it to the camera, take a picture of it, then I'm not going to lose it.
That's a good idea.
Okay, like, if you read it late, we didn't do anything for you last week. Let me, you have to fill out the paper and you'll take care of you tonight. It's like you're going to luck out. You're like, it's not good. I mean, we already talked about that. I had to argue with the deans to be up to what. They don't like overload visitors. I told him that, I said, I can guarantee you that this is going to have some empty students. I'll post them on it. I got one over there back there, don't I? Okay. Not bad. Trying to run anybody off yet? No, you'll probably get lucky and you won't have to sit at the chair up here. Okay?
Is this file that you're showing us supposed to be on the hard drive?
This?
Yeah.
It's going to be in about 1 minute.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Okay? Right now. Okay, I'm going to go out here. And single table query. Copy. And iDrive. Handouts. Single table queries. Paste. In here, okay, I got that example I showed you, the program, the PowerPoints I went through, and then I had all those scripts in there that, basically all the scripts that were in the PowerPoint are sitting in there, so you can actually copy and paste them in and even run them, so it's better to type them in so you learn to, go ahead and learn to make the mistakes. Okay. Any questions? And you got to use the Riverbend database on it. That's a little more complex database, so the queries are going to be a little more detailed. Okay. And they got some problem solving flavor to them. Okay. Any other questions? That's all I have for tonight.